15 years ago, under a blood-orange Nevada sunset, 12-year-old Riley Harper stood alone in a desolate stretch of desert, watching her family's rusted pickup truck vanish into a cloud of dust. The engine's growl faded, leaving only silence and the weight of her mother's words. "This is your lesson, Riley. You'll thank us someday." No goodbye, no glance back, just taillights swallowed by the horizon. In her trembling hands, she clutched a half-empty water bottle, her only companion as night crept in. That moment carved itself into her bones, a scar she'd carry into a future no one expected her to claim. Riley grew up in the small town of Redding, Nevada, where the idea of family was more pageant than truth. In the Harper household, Riley was the outlier, always overshadowed by her older sister, Chloe. Chloe's soccer trophies lined the mantel. Her name echoed in church bulletins, and her laughter filled the kitchen where their mother, Diane, bragged to neighbors. Riley, quiet and introspective, was the afterthought. At 8, she overheard Diane tell a friend, "Riley's different, not like Chloe. We try, though." The words landed like a slap, teaching Riley to shrink, to hide her sketches, to swallow her voice. By 12, she'd mastered invisibility, blending into the wallpaper of her own home. That summer, Diane pitched a family bonding trip to the desert, 30 miles from cell service. Riley packed her duffel with mismatched socks and a single book, expecting nothing special. The family set up camp. Chloe rolled out sleeping bags. Their father, Tom, fiddled with the cooler, and Diane handed out soda cans. But as dusk painted the sky, Diane pulled Riley aside. "You need to learn to stand on your own," she said, her smile tight, like a survival camp. Riley mumbled, "I'm not in any camp." Diane's laugh cut her off. "That's the point." Minutes later, the truck roared to life, and they were gone, their laughter lingering like a taunt. Night fell hard. Riley walked, her sneakers crunching on gravel, her lips cracking from thirst. The desert was a void, swallowing her footsteps. "This is how you disappear," she thought, her mind numb. At dawn, a highway patrol officer spotted her staggering along the road, one sneaker missing, her sister's old jacket flapping in the wind. He drove her to the station, where the air reeked of stale coffee and bleach. Officers typed reports, misspelling her name, Riley. Really? They called her parents. No answer. Whispers floated. Parents say she ran off. Stories fishy. Riley sat on a bench, clutching a thin blanket, staring at dust motes in a shaft of light. No one asked if she was scared. They treated her like a puzzle they'd rather not solve. After 3 nights in a juvenile holding room, a social worker named Ms. Ellis arrived with a clipboard and a tired smile. "Any family we can call?" she asked. Riley hesitated, then gave a name her parents hadn't mentioned in years, Evelyn Carter. Her grandmother, Ms. Ellis, dialed, and Evelyn's voice came through, weathered but firm. "I'll come for her. No questions, no conditions." But before Riley could meet Evelyn, she needed to see one last place. Ms. Ellis drove her to Redding's oak-lined suburbs, where Riley's childhood home loomed, its faded yellow siding peeling like old skin. Riley knocked, her heart pounding. Diane opened the door halfway. "We told the police everything," she said, her voice flat. "This is a legal matter. Leave." No questions about where Riley had been. No flicker of guilt. The door shut. Riley stood frozen, not shocked, but certain. She was done here. In the car, Ms. Ellis broke the silence. "Evelyn Carter's your grandmother, right? Want me to call her?" Riley nodded. "Yes." Hours later, Evelyn's old sedan pulled into Redding's outskirts, past sun-bleached billboards and sagebrush fields. Her small ranch house waited, a squat adobe with a wind chime tinkling on the porch. Evelyn stepped out, wiping flour-dusted hands on her apron. She studied Riley, then nodded. "No need to talk if you're not ready," she said, guiding her inside. The house smelled of bread and thyme, a worn couch, a shelf of mystery novels, a crooked lamp. That night, Evelyn served chili, no questions asked. Riley ate, her hunger surprising her. The guest bed was too soft, keeping her awake. She wandered to the living room, where Evelyn wrote letters by lamplight. Without a word, Evelyn slid a blanket toward her. Sit if you want. Riley did. They shared the quiet, and for the first time, silence felt like safety. Mornings brought routine. Riley followed Evelyn to her garden, pulling weeds beside her, their hands brushing soil. They didn't talk much, but they shared breakfasts, old radio tunes, and crossword puzzles. Riley borrowed a book from Evelyn's shelf, its pages yellowed but heavy with meaning. She found a notebook and started writing fragments, thoughts, lists. On the cover, she scrawled, I don't need their roots to grow. The dirt under her nails felt earned, not dirty. Riley didn't wait for permission to build a life. She walked to Redding's diner and asked for work. The manager handed her a stack of plates. Wipe these. She did, quietly, diligently. By week's end, she had a schedule, mornings scrubbing counters, evenings folding newspapers for the town route. The pay was small, but each paycheck was hers. She bought a cracked screen phone from a pawn shop and started visiting the library, teaching herself for her GED. While classmates posted prom photos, Riley tracked expenses in a spiral notebook. She didn't envy them. She was free from needing anyone's approval. One day, at the laundromat where she picked up shifts, the owner, Mike, grumbled about missing towels and low detergent stock. That night, Riley opened a library computer and built a simple spreadsheet, color-coded, with basic formulas. She showed Mike the next day. You made this? He asked, squinting. Soon, 2 other local shops used her system. That was when Riley realized, she didn't just work. She created. On her 18th birthday, alone with a mug of tea at Evelyn's table, Riley registered her own company, a one-woman LLC. No party, no gifts, but a domain with her name. In her notebook, she wrote, This is mine, and no one can take it. Years later, an email pinged. Her childhood home, 412 Oak Street, was in foreclosure. Riley's pulse quickened, not with nostalgia, but control. She called her lawyer, Leah, and said, Buy it. No trace to me. The deal closed quietly. Riley visited at dusk, standing on the overgrown lawn, the mailbox stuffed with unpaid bills. She didn't go inside. She didn't need to. They let it rot. She whispered, Just like me. She hired a crew to stabilize the house. New beams. No mold, but no paint. The porch light stayed, flickering and yellow. Then, one morning, a sleek SUV parked out front. Diane, Tom, and Chloe stepped out, oblivious that Riley owned the deed. She watched from behind a curtain as they approached. Their steps entitled. Riley opened the door, her face unreadable. Diane blinked. We didn't know the bank sold it. Riley's voice was steady. They did. To me. The air tightened. They wanted to talk, hinting at money, cloaked in family. Riley set down a tray of tea. No sugar, no warmth. Why are you here? She asked. They stumbled, citing blood. Riley leaned forward. If you want cash, leave. If you want truth, I'll pour more tea. They stayed, but their eyes calculated. As they left, Riley knew this was only the beginning. Riley Harper didn't cry when she hit the Go Live button. The studio in her Las Vegas office was bare, just a camera, a desk, and a stack of documents that held 15 years of buried pain. Outside, the city's neon buzzed, but inside, Riley's voice was steady, slicing through the silence like a blade. 15 years ago, I was left in the Nevada desert. She began, her eyes locked on the lens. Not as a metaphor, not as a story, literally. The words weren't for sympathy. They were for clarity, for the girl she'd been. Walking a highway alone at 12. One sneaker gone, her family's laughter echoing in her mind. Riley laid out the truth with surgical precision. She held up a faded police report, the ink smudged from 2010, detailing her recovery after a patrol officer found her. She showed a hospital intake form. Her 10-year-old self listed with dehydration, minor abrasions. Then, the grainy photo, a time-stamped still from a traffic camera, capturing a small figure in an oversized shirt, trudging along a deserted road. Her face unreadable but her posture screaming abandonment. This is me, she said, voice unwavering. This is what they call the lesson. The chat exploded, shock, anger, disbelief, but Riley didn't pause. She shared emails from her sister, Chloe, sent years later to Riley's college scholarship board, accusing her of fraud. The claims had cost Riley her funding, forcing her to drop out. I kept these, she said, because silence isn't my language anymore. Her mother, Diane, had sent a cease and desist letter through a lawyer, demanding Riley take down the livestream, claiming defamation. Riley didn't flinch. Instead, she uploaded the letter to a public repository on her company's website, alongside every document she'd shown. No captions, no spin, just facts. I'm not suing, she told the camera. I'm not hiding. The truth doesn't need my defense. She ended the stream with a line that lingered. I didn't break their silence to hurt them. I broke it to remember who I am. The fallout was immediate. Social media erupted. #Riley Harper trended for days. Some called her ruthless, a brand-building opportunist. Others saw courage, flooding her inbox with messages. My dad left me too. You said what I never could. Her company, Harper Tech, lost 3 clients within a week. Spooked by the drama, but 5 new ones signed on. Drawn to Riley's raw honesty. We trust someone who doesn't flinch. One CEO wrote. Riley didn't celebrate. She was too busy reading every comment, every DM, not to reply, but to listen. For the first time, she felt seen, not as a victim, but as a voice. Riley sold the house at 412 Oak Street through a trust. No fanfare, no trace back to her. The yellow siding, the flickering porch light, the memories of being invisible, they belonged to someone else now. A week later, a cream-colored envelope arrived at her office. Diane's handwriting unmistakable. Inside was a letter, not an apology, but a rewrite. We did our best. Riley, you were tough to raise. We were scared. Riley read half a page, then set it down. She wrote back on a single note card. I forgave you years ago. But I won't step back to prove it. She mailed it and let it go. Like dust settling after a storm. Harper Tech thrived, landing a multi-million-dollar contract with a logistics firm. Riley's team threw a party, cupcakes, streamers, laughter, but she slipped away early, climbing to her apartment's rooftop. The Vegas skyline glittered below. A constellation of ambition. She wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, sipping chamomile tea, and called Evelyn, her grandmother. Evelyn didn't mention the livestream or the headlines. Got salt for your steps yet? She asked. Voice warm. They talked about rosemary plants, jazz records, a novel Evelyn was reading. The past stayed unspoken, and that was the sweetest justice of all. Riley's message wasn't about vengeance. Justice isn't an apology, she'd said in a follow-up post. It's choosing peace over their approval. Forgiveness isn't reconciliation. It's freeing yourself from their weight. She invited others to share their stories. Not for likes, but for healing. Your voice matters, she wrote. If you've been unseen, unheard, tell me. Drop a 1 in the comments or say where you're watching from. If this doesn't resonate, that's okay. Tell me why. Thousands responded. Ones. Cities. Raw confessions. Chicago. My mom never saw me. Austin. I'm done staying quiet. Riley read them all, her heart full. You're not alone, she replied. Keep speaking. The noise faded, headlines dulled. Trolls moved on, but the impact lingered. A stranger at a conference shook her hand, whispering, "Thank you." A note from an intern read, "Your story gave me mine." Riley didn't frame it, but she kept it in her desk. When a producer pitched a documentary, A Tale of Triumph, she declined. "This isn't for show," she said. "It's for the girl on that highway." Riley's truth didn't set her free in a movie script way. It made silence impossible, and that was enough.